There are 6 stages of new. Seeing as this is about being always new, you decide where you are. Here's the first stage.
That was good.
The first stage is the first stage is you're a beginner, and there is such a thing as beginner's luck, because when you're fresh, shiny, and hot, as someone once said to me, you have a very poorly developed sense of the odds against you. Right? Sometimes it helps to be stupid, right? Because you go do it. You dare where angels fear to tread, right? Then, after you kind of start down your path, you have a series of breakthroughs. Have you noticed, when you try something for the first time, when I started playing tennis, I couldn't play it, and then very, very quickly I had a series of breakthroughs. I could play a reasonable game of tennis. Because there is such a thing as beginners luck. People want to help you, and then you experience the thrill of enhanced capacity. So you have growth, success, and most importantly, you have momentum. What comes after that, by the way? What do you think? What comes after that? I'll tell you what comes after that. The wall comes after that. Because you're naive. You haven't paid your dues. You might only have been operating in a certain environment. You haven't been through the ups and downs. You haven't been through the seasons. You haven't had people be obstacles as opposed to advocates. And so what happens is you hit your limit. We've all been there. You become overloaded, and there's a slowdown. And you hit the wall because you don't understand what's going on because you haven't been there before. Now, because, as someone indicated earlier on, you've got an underlying resilience. Once you've been through the wall, then you consolidate. You review where you've been. You review where you're going. You reset. You recalibrate. And you re-engage. And you and I know that this is a critical inflection point for so many people where instead of re-engaging, they withdraw. In fact, at Environics, we've got a whole segment of the population that we call disengaged Darwinists. They're folks who've withdrawn from society. They think it's a winner takes all, and they're not the winners, and they're just cruising to the finish line, which is not a good thing to do. What happens after that? Well, what happens after that is you become a master, right? You have an understanding. You develop your genius, your specific skill set, and people gravitate towards you. So you and I know in the business of sales or business building, there are farmers, folks who are really good at nurturing relationships. There are hunters, folks who are really good at going out there and bringing in new relationships. But I'm going to give you a third category, and those are magnets. When you become a magnet, people become attracted to you. And therefore, your energy can be focused on your genius, not on finding people with whom to do business. Now, what happens after mastery? Well, you've got to be careful, because what happens after mastery is it's very easy to plateau, to flatline. And what happens then is you become tired, because you've been doing it for so long. You're carrying too much baggage, so you're protecting what was, not exploring what could be, and inevitably you go stale, which is when you become a beginner all over again. And if you look at the trajectory of the great ones, they're constantly looking for beginner status. They have a constant humility. They're constantly curious and asking questions, and not for a moment do they believe that their way is the only way. It's just a way, and they're looking for other ways to enhance their way. So the question that I have for you here is, where are you in the 6 stages of new? And I have a sense, if you're over here, you are kind of in the space. Some of you might be in this space. Some of you, by the way, might be wanting to get out of this space. I'll tell you without a shadow of a doubt, I am between here and here. Right? I feel like I've mastered my craft. I'm terrified of this. And I'm always moving in that clockwise direction. Right? And by the way, in a beginner's mind, there are many possibilities. In an expert's mind, there are few. In other words, always be a beginner. So